The CX-50 is a new model in 2023 for Mazda. It was designed to be a more adventurous CX-5. It is lower by about 1.5 inches. It's about 3 inches wider and about 5.5 inches longer than the CX-5. That gives it a little bit more rugged appearance on the road and a little more capable of going off-road. The other thing is, this is the first Mazda ever to have a panoramic roof. Now this model is the CX-50 Meridian Edition. It sits around the top of the trim line, just below the Premium and Premium Plus. But the cool thing about this Meridian package is that it gives you a little bit more rugged off-roading look to it, including this awesome hood graphic that does say CX-50 Meridian Edition in it. That's awesome. You also get these 18-inch black wheels that come with black lug nuts and all-terrain tires. The other thing that you get with this is these rocker panels that look just awesome down here to protect the side of the car when you go off-roading. The other thing about this Meridian Edition is that it only comes in 2 colors, and that's polymetal gray and this beautiful greenish, brownish kind of color, depending on what your camera looks like, what your eye picks up. And this is the Zircon Sand. We love this color. We think it looks awesome, especially with all this black trim and the black hood graphics. Really sets it off. Under the hood, we've got a 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder. It puts out 227 horsepower and 310 foot-pounds of torque, and that's with 87 octane. If you go up to 93 octane in here, you're going to get 256 horsepower and 320 foot-pounds of torque. And that is tied to the Sky Active Drive 6-speed transmission, giving it 0 to 60 in about 6.6 seconds, which is actually pretty good for an off-roading crossover. Now the EPA rates this at about 23 miles per gallon in the city and about 29 out on the highway, with an average of around 25. Now we've been driving this for about 300 or 400 miles so far, and we are sitting right around 26 miles per gallon. And check out the channel for the real world mile per gallon test that we do, a 90-mile city, highway, interstate driving test to give you the real world mile per gallon of this CX-50 Meridian Edition. Now these upper trims do come with a powered liftgate, which is really nice addition. Okay, so this cargo area, we've got about 31.4 cubic feet back here, which is actually a pretty good size. There is a decent amount of room. You've got some cubby holes on each side over here, and underneath here, looks like we have got a tire. So that's nice. You don't see too many tires in the cars anymore, so that is a plus for this. And then if we want to drop this second row down, we've got little handles right here. So we're going to pull this handle right here to drop that one down, and then you got another handle on the other side to drop the other side down. And now you have about 56.3 cubic feet of space in here. Very large, very nice, very easy to travel, do whatever you need to with. Let's close that up and let's head to the inside. Now there is only one option for the Meridian Edition, and that is the terracotta interior, which is absolutely beautiful. You've got this nice orange clay pot color with stitching all the way across here. You got stitching even carries in over here. And then look at these beautiful seats with the black stripe down the middle and all of that intricate stitching in here. And you do have powered seats with lumbar, which is excellent. Steering wheel, it is a typical Mazda steering wheel. Very easy to figure out. You've got your stereo and everything over here. The information button for the center screen. And then over here is all of your driver assist functions, cruise control, and your adaptive setting. But you can just see how beautiful this interior is. It's just amazing. Here's your driver's display, and you do have information in the center that you can adjust. You can switch over to so you can see your lane keep assist. And then there's nothing in the middle, and then you can change it to see your average miles per gallon. And then you can see on the other side you have miles. This is your active mile per gallon while you're driving. And then you've got your range over here estimated at, like right now we're at a full tank. We got about 370 approximately. You've got your temperature display, and you also have the mileage on the car, which you see our tester has about 7,300 miles. So a lot of people have been testing this car. But these two are analog gauges, but this one in the center is actually a digital gauge, because you see how this needle fades out. And these are standard needles, which is pretty cool that they incorporated both. Be nice to see a fully digital display, you know, now. Maybe we'll see that in the 24s, but I'm expecting to probably have this similar setup for the 24s and maybe a little refresh around 25. So the center screen here has basic information on it. Controls most of your stereo and that type of stuff, navigation, everything like that. You do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is a plus. The strange thing about this is when it is on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you do have touch. It is a touch screen. So you can see that it switched over to Pandora. But when it's not connected, then you have to use this to maneuver items on the screen. And you can still do that if it's easier for you while you're driving than reach up and touch it. But you can touchscreen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but on the regular main screen for Mazda, you have to use the dial. So this is pretty nice. You got your climate control all right down here, which we love that, and we love having the buttons. We love having the heated seat button right here. Get your hazards there, and all your climate controls. Excellent, excellent. We love that. We want to keep that. That's great. Down here, you do have a little holder there for your keys or change or whatever you would like to set up there. Then you have two cup holders right here. I wish that the cup holders were back a little bit farther, if this could come back a little bit farther, because it is kind of close to these buttons. And if you have a taller bottle, it's maybe in the way of those buttons. I've actually seen my bottle kept hitting the heated seat on the passenger side, kept turning it on. So I started using a little bit smaller bottle in here. Now you do have your just a regular gear shifter, no fancy moving it all over the place to get it into gear. You just pull the button on the front and pull it back, just standard. And you do have a manual option. So this does have the MI drive, and the drive modes that you have for this Meridian Edition is you have Sport, and then you have Normal, and you have Off-Road. That is pretty awesome. I like to have a sport mode on all cars. It just, that way, whenever you feel like you just want to play around, you can. If you go on back a little bit farther, we do have a electronic parking brake. You have the auto hold. You have a favorites button for your infotainment screen. And then you've got this little volume button, and you can push it either way for your tracking of your songs or on your Pandora or whatever, which is really nice. But you also have that on the steering wheel. So, but it is nice having this little volume button right down here if you don't want to use it on the steering wheel. That's pretty cool. Do have vents here, and you see the stitching goes all the way across. Vents over in the corner. You have a traditional glove box, which is good, and it's pretty decent size. Got a lot of papers and a very big manual in there. Other than that, you do have powered seats on the passenger side. It does not include lumbar though. You can see up here we have our controllers for the panoramic roof and for your lights on the inside. Now here is that beautiful panoramic roof that is a first for Mazda. This is the very first vehicle to have it, and it is it does open. It is powered, so you can go full open if you want to, or partial open if you want to, and you can close that up. And the other plus that it has a panoramic roof cover. Isn't that nice? Love it when they put those in there. We usually have ours open all the time, but it is nice to be able to shut that when you need to. pretty cool. Okay, so let's go hop in the back, see what kind of room we've got back here. So it is pretty decent size. Looks like there's a decent amount of room in here. And you can see that there are vents right here, and you do have some USB plugs here. Then if you look here, you pull this down, you got a couple cup holders. Isn't this interior just beautiful? I love it. So awesome. So let's hop in here and we'll get in. So the seat is in my driving position, and you can see that I have plenty of room in my knees, you know, at least a finger's width to get through. So that's really good. That's a big plus. Good amount of space back here. You can see with my head, plenty of room, probably about another inch or so, and I'm about 6 foot. So I got a little bit of room back here. Maybe somebody 6'2" might be getting a little cramped back here, but shouldn't be too bad. There's enough room that they should be able to relax a little bit, give themselves a little bit more space. But yeah, really nice in here, really good. Here's another look at the front. The way that is all set up, that's really good. The other thing I didn't point out was this center armrest. I love it when they do this split center armrest because it can open up. You can open up part of it, you can open up all of it. It's a decent amount of size down in there. It does have 2 USB plugs down here. They are USB-A's, there aren't any USB-C's in here. Kind of a little disappointing. I think they need to add some USB-C's, but maybe that's something that's easily added for the next model year. And another look at that roof back here. Excellent, excellent, love it. So the base model for the CX-50, which is going to give you that 2.5 liter standard engine, not a turbo, that is going to come in right around 30,000. So that's where you're going to start at. And then when you go up in the trim packages, when you get to this Meridian, which is about the third from the top, just under the premium and premium plus turbos, this one is going to start out at $39,950. And our tester right here didn't have a whole lot of extras added on. I think it was a little bit extra for this zircon sand color, which is only available on these Meridians. That pushed it up to about $41,620. So now that you've seen all the numbers, you've seen the outside, you've seen the inside, I think it's time to go take this for a drive. So after driving this for a few days now, we've been really impressed with it. We used to have Mazdas back in the past. My wife has had a Mazda 6 from 2004, 2006, somewhere in that range. And then we bought a 2014 Mazda 6 whenever they changed the new body style. And we just loved the Mazdas because it was just familiar. Everything pretty much stayed the same, looked the same, easy to use, easy to function, was comfortable. They look nice. They have good, nice interiors for the price. They're not trying to compete with Genesis or Lexus or anything like that because they don't need to. But you can see how beautiful the interior of this car is. You can see how beautiful these seats are. It's just amazing, and the way they lay things out is just easy to use. All of my buttons on my steering wheel are easy to use. It's easy to read the gauges. They don't put a bunch of information in there that you don't need. It's just easy and simple. I like this screen up in the front. It's not as tall as some others, so it being integrated into the dash is actually okay. All right, so we're supposed to be 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds. So let's do that. It didn't like brake torquing, so we're gonna try not brake torquing. You ready? 1, 2, 3. $60. That was not bad. Like I said earlier, 6.6 seconds in an off-roading crossover is actually pretty decent. There are some electric cars out there that can't get the 6.6. You know, so it's very impressive. I like that. The sound is good. the engine actually did sound good. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder, but for a 4-cylinder, it had a little lower growl to it. So they did a good job with the exhaust note on this. The suspension in this feels probably just a little bit stiffer than what the regular CX-50 will be, and that's just because this is the Meridian, so this is geared to go off-road. So it's going to have a little bit stiffer suspension, but probably has a little more travel in the deeper areas, or if you want to rock crawl just a little bit, you're going to have a little bit more travel there. But otherwise, the ride is very smooth, especially on the interstate. It was cruising. It was a very smooth ride. The seats are great. At first, we weren't so sure about them. They seemed like they might have been a little stiff, but as we were driving, we actually got used to them, and our bodies actually started to feel like they were conforming to the seats. So they do feel really good. The only problem that I am having is that I feel like they might be a little short. I think they probably could come out another inch or so, and I would like to see in the power assistance on the seat to be able to tilt that front up just a little bit more to give me some more support on my legs. But other than that, I am pretty comfortable in here. Everything seems to be within reach, easy to use. The mirrors look great in a great spot. You know, I don't know what else I can say. You know, you've got a sunglass holder. Some cars don't even have sunglass holders. So this car is just familiar. If you've ever driven a Mazda in your life, you're gonna be able to get in here and sit in here and go to drive and know how to work everything, because it's just so simple. Did a great job with this car, Mazda. We fell in love with it within a couple days, just like we always do with our Mazdas. I haven't really found a negative thing other than when I talked about the cup holders. If you have a taller bottle, it can, you know, interfere with your climate controls, but other than that, that is just fine. And like I mentioned earlier about the screen, as long as you're Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it's a touchscreen, but it's not a touchscreen when you're using Mazda's system. That doesn't make any sense to me. Not so sure why that's that way, and I think that is something that could be easily changed, because obviously it is a touchscreen, so they just have to activate that in their Mazda system. The panoramic roof is great. Having the sunshade is excellent. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I really have not found a downfall to this car yet. It overperforms on its miles per gallon. It's just amazing. I just can't believe this car. So, and if you are curious about the miles per gallon, I did run a real-world mile per gallon test on this. We drove about 90 miles. It included city, highway, and interstate, and you'd be surprised at how this turned out. So if you're interested in that, make sure you click on this video right up here. And otherwise, I think I'll probably just see you guys in the next one.